A big night at the Republican National Convention. First, former President Donald Trump makes an appearance just hours after officially being confirmed as the GOP nominee and just 2 days after the assassination attempt during his Pennsylvania rally. And former president also picking his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. If elected, Vance would be the third youngest vice president in American history. Now, what we know about the investigation into the attempted assassination.
Look what happened.
We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on.
The building where the alleged shooter's body was found was roughly 148 yards from where the president spoke and outside the Secret Service security perimeter. And two sources familiar with the agency's operation tell NBC News its roof was identified as a potential vulnerability ahead of the event. A spokesperson for the Secret Service says they designated that rooftop was under the jurisdiction of local law enforcement and worked with them to maintain event security. But no one was spotted in that area. The local district attorney says his office provided support, including sniper teams, but the Secret Service was in charge of security outside the venue and ran the show. Many on Capitol Hill are demanding to know what went wrong.
We need to know, how could an individual be at that elevation that was seen by apparently bystanders on the ground? How could that not be noticed by Secret Service?
Local law enforcement leaders say they are investigating their preparation for the event and their response after the shooting. And the House Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green sent a letter to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas demanding information related to the security plans around the rally, pointing out in his letter that, quote, had the bullet trajectory been slightly different, the assassination attempt on President Trump might have succeeded. The Secret Service also pushed back on reports that they had reduced the security presence around Trump. A spokesperson saying, quote, this is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. But members of Congress want answers.
We need to know, is this a protocol failure? Is this a resources issue? Or is this just a failure of those who were on site that day?
All right, well, the Republican National Convention kicking off today in Milwaukee. Former President Donald Trump, who was injured, obviously, in that assassination attempt on Saturday, arriving there last night, and more than 2,400 Republican delegates have gathered there for a 4-day event. Former President Trump is set to formally accept his nomination as the RNC on Thursday, and he is reportedly rewriting that speech to focus more on a message of unity. And former President Donald Trump's recently selected running mate, J.D. Vance, was spotted at the Republican National Convention today. If the Trump-Vance ticket wins, he would be the third youngest vice president in history. And former President Donald Trump broke the news in a post on his Truth Social account shortly before he became the official presidential nominee of the Republican Party. Trump writing in his post that Vance is, quote, the best person suited to assume the position of vice president of the United States. The 39-year-old Vance is a first-term senator, a graduate of Yale Law School, and a Marine veteran. No nominee this century has waited until the convention to announce his running mate. Well, tonight, in an exclusive White House interview in the Roosevelt Room, President Joe Biden discussing the political temperature of the country with Lester Holt, also responding to criticism of his rhetoric leading up to the assassination attempt on former President Trump.
Well, let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing.
And still ahead of News 4 Tucson at 10 o'clock, a look at